Today, we're going to talk about viral products, specifically products that people make for their clothing lines, for coffee shops, CPG products, accessories, home goods that look so good on social media that when you make good content about them, they get an outsized amount of views. And in this video, I'm going to break down easily 20 examples of those products and the content they make and why it works. I'm going to talk about viral products as a collection anchor or as an anchor for a brand versus it being its entire identity. And I'm going to talk about brands that just focus on viral. And then we'll talk a bit about the authenticity of making things that are viral, the longevity, and how it impacts brand identity throughout. So first off, I'm going to talk about a lot of clothing in this video because there's a lot of viral clothing items, but I'm not just going to leave it to that. And we're going to start off with this beverage video from this cafe because I want to show you that this is about something that like brick and mortar businesses can do, businesses that create any kind of like supplement product or recipe-based product or food product, clothing product, home goods product. Even if you're advertising your yoga studio, whatever it is, don't think that you're counted out of a viral product strategy. And so this is basically just about making an aesthetic drink. And you'll notice that it is filmed in great light. This not quite golden hour light, but certainly good light. But you'll see this happen frequently with cafes and things like that. There's a local cafe to me called Kit. They have a yuzu matcha combo that really just looks good on camera. A lot of people order it because it looks good on camera. Sure, it tastes good as well. But there is something to be said for you walk into a cafe, you see a drink that looks crazy, and people go, oh, I want to get that. They see it on social media. They want to go to the location. This video for this cafe has 605,000 likes. That's why I want to start with it. And it is purely off the aesthetics of the drink. There's two principles to know here. One is there's the ability to kind of look at anything and say, can we take an aesthetic twist to it? So any standard service, you can basically go to the lever of how do we make this look cool enough it stands out on social? And then the second thing is what is the video format that works? So for a location or something that's offered at a place, like say this was a pizza place, you'll see this caption, do you want to go grab matcha? Same thing could be said for, do you want to go grab pizza? It's a viral looking pizza. You want to go to whatever gelato cafe. If you have the look and feel, this is a simple, repeatable, one-shot video. It's really based on the light more than anything, and the process and look of the product. And should be how you're looking at creating stuff like that is getting not just your account, because this is non your account, but getting creators and other people who are around you or who are local involved as well. So this is another example in a home goods brand where basically they've taken a very pop art look and feel, and obviously this one is like Nike branded, that kind of old Englishy font, and applied it to something traditional. And this is a strategy for a type of viral product. It's saying, I'm going to take something traditional and I'm going to apply a new wave look to it. Is one of those things that works very well on social. And then when we talk about the video content, he is just presenting it. Literally, the spin is what makes this video because you watch it, you see the sides, and you are basically incentivized naturally in your head to watch it finish spinning, and then the whole process starts again. But this entire brand that we scroll through here, he has made really cool looking stuff that appeals to a very certain demographic. It has a repeatable look and feel that you can identify specifically as his. And the entire brand exists around a viral product concept. If he was just making vases that had a more standard look, it would be a lot harder to get attention on social media. But all of these have a standout look and it's a trademark for him. People can tell as soon as they see the font and the form factor that it is one of his products. And he does that in different color treatments, different ways, etc. But this is an example of the entire brand was concepted around a visual look that is built to succeed on social media and in a category you don't often see on social media. So if you had a vase business and you want to do the same thing, you'd be really looking at, okay, he kind of owns this tattoo style meets old English, large font look here. What are other things with which I can do? Do I want to apply an anime aesthetic for it? What if I was going to do goth opium vases, whatever it is, running through that aesthetics list. And I do want to do a video that's aesthetics and why they perform at some point, but we'll get there. And then identifying how you apply it to your category. All right, now I want to talk about Umbro and Umbro's comeback and just a viral product as part of a collection, right? So that last brand bases almost its entire brand on things that are inherently viral. Before that, that was just one drink offered at a cafe that gets at some level of virality. When Umbro decided to come back and they hired this creative director from Slam Jam and they basically began putting out amazing stuff, they did a couple things that are cool marketing, probably worth its own video. But this chainmail jersey was one that is just an excellent concept. And what I like about this is the other two things, if you're looking at these things objectively with taste, kind of have an inherent corniness. And corniness, whether it's a small amount or a large amount, sells. I am a serial victim of using that for my own success. And you have to kind of recognize when it's useful to be tasteful or not. But this is an extremely tasteful, more of a high fashion approach being taken by a soccer brand. It gets featured on people like Outlander, who are curators of good taste. But this is an example of getting attention for the brand by the single item that I don't know if it's for sale. I don't think I can buy it. I don't know how many people are actually going to wear it via chainmail, but it brought attention to the brand and made a statement for the brand at that period that we are now in the cultural conversation purely by this one piece as then part of the entire story that the brand is telling. And so I want to point this out to basically brands that are trying to establish their identity or want to capitalize on this by having more subdued, like I wouldn't say Umbro is like an edgy brand prior. Like even if they're making good looking stuff, or they're making kind of more current stuff, having that one thing that is viral and showcased on many places is a really interesting way to do it. And this is another technique, and it's a great technique to apply. Same technique as you kind of saw with the vase, just a little bit different, is how can you take a traditional thing and do it in an insane material, right? Could this jersey be a full suit of armor? Could it be, completely in like thatched suede, whatever it is, as a technique to have in your toolkit for any product to think about how you make it more viral. And then I would be remiss to talk about this category at all without talking about arguably what is the precursor to all of this. I didn't want to lead with it because I know most people will just scroll away from the video as soon as you see these, but this is a classic example of this kind of principle in action, perhaps gone too far. But what I want to talk about here is the rollout tactic for this. So this is an inherently viral product from the look, but they debuted it with influence, right? And that's something I want a lot of brands to think about is if you are a brand that is rolling out something like this for the first time, or you have an item in your collection, we'll talk about collection design here in a minute, then having someone anchor that, right? Having someone who is she was niche famous, she comes out wearing the product to begin to kick it off, and it sparks the cultural conversation. Then it was then her and then a number of other influencers, and then people wanted to get in on the moment of being involved in the launch. And this playbook obviously feels like forever ago, but was only 2023. And is a good example of if you have that moment, you have the opportunity to try to make it go viral on your own, or you can basically almost guarantee virality by adding that concept of viral product plus viral influencer, which in a lot of cases, if you want to generate a moment, will be worth the money because people that want to participate in that moment will immediately be reaching out to you, and you'll begin to have basically clout happening in your inbox. Another great example, so obviously just like the design of the bag and the look here, again, leveraging a popular aesthetic, you're basically taking Coquette, applying it at scale, putting their own kind of twist on it, but it is the anchor, an anchor product for this brand to stand out on social media, to get 17,000 likes on a bag when not all of their products would necessarily get that. And this is what I want to bring up as a good point here is that this is not a super utility driven bag. I don't think we're going to see a ton of people out in the streets with it. It may be a statement piece people use to go to something really special, which is its own kind of demographic market. But you need to look at the place that your product has inside the catalog, right? And this is where I want to talk about collections, where you can use viral products as the anchor for a launch. What we saw in the Miele China brands, their entire brand revolves around having something that looks good on social media that will inherently get views because it looks better. But if you are a brand that does not necessarily have a bunch of products that consistently will do that, and you don't want them to be your identity, then it's about having these statement standout pieces that anchor the collection. Because what it does is when people see that viral video of the bag that we saw there, they begin to get a level of curiousness about the brand and begin to enter the conversation around all the things that the brand offers and get to the actual collection page. And even though that bag might not be the thing that people buy, they may go ahead and say, hey, I see this skirt or this wrap or this corset or whatever it is, and this is the product that I become most interested in. And to reinforce the point that I had earlier about the chainmail jersey, this is just basically another application of the same exact idea, but on an accessories product. And I want to call this out as an accessory product because this happens across categories. It does not always need to be apparel. Obviously, a tie is quasi-apparel, but it's not like you're selling a suit or a jacket. That same concept of material transformation can equal inherent virality. And in this video, where they're actually showing the process behind making it, is just another example of doing that. And I love the format of show the finished thing really quick, show the process it takes to make it, because people are going to want to see the finished thing again. That first shot, if it's a viral item and you let go of it pretty quick, they're gonna be like, okay, I want to see more of that. But then all of a sudden they're in a story and they know the story has an end. They know, okay, this is going to end up with a better view of what's happening. You get to watch it come together. That basically makes people watch the video through. You're basically ensuring watch time by utilizing this format, which is a really crucial idea to be thinking about. And then the same thing can apply to interiors as well. Or again, this is a statement piece. I actually do think people would put this inside their house. They're taking something familiar, they are changing its appearance to be inherently viral, and it is an anchor item to get people to post and recognize the design of the studio. And just a reminder that this does exist across categories. And again, this obviously is a blinged out version, but it's relatively classy as an option to be able to present inside that world to say, hey, this is more of an art piece. It's more of a statement thing. It actually could make a subtle room really pop as a contrast item. worth thinking about. And I want to point this one out from Vandy, another one I feel is inherently interesting, where it's taking a garment, adding a simple thing to it, like the ears that we have here, that is this kind of in between, where it has a little bit of virality from it. It's not hugely distant or overly wild, but kind of adds that little element to it that actually makes it like, this is the kind of thing that you'll see this in the streets. It's an approachable version of this that is actually wearable, which is kind of that middle ground between pure attention getting, but it's going to probably make some sales that I think he executed really well. All right, so a brief interlude, but I am back for more. So this is an example of using a viral item purely as a brand play. So these are Stone Island G-Wagon rims that they posted. And it's not something that's available for sale, as sad as it is. I also believe it's likely a hazard based on how rims work. But basically, they debuted the photos. There's obviously this billboard that they put out with it. But this is more starting a brand conversation from it. I actually don't like the idea of putting out like a viral thing that no one can get their hands on, especially in today's era. I actually think you should make some of them and get them in people's hands and have them available, no matter how vanity it is, because we're in an era where people will buy it and it becomes an actual engageable consumer experience, or at least like put them in the stores or let them take photos on it, whatever it is. But this is a good example. They're just using this as a marketing tactic. This is product as marketing, creating a one-of-one thing specifically to raise brand awareness. And if you have recognizable iconography and kind of the clout of someone like Stone Island, or if you are trying to achieve that in your space in a relatively recognizable, this is an interesting way to do it by doing something like a G-Wagon rim. Stone Island, if you want to send these to me, I will put them on the wagon. We will put that in the video. We're going to talk about this concept of viral as a brand identity in a moment. But someone who I think does it particularly well, like Kid Super and House of Errors, are two people that basically have things that are inherently tasteful, inherently viral, like lightly viral, but make it part of the identity where you're always expecting the unexpected from them, where you're expecting a twist on anything regular you see. And a lot of brands are making things purely viral. This is an interesting case. This is a watch brand where they're basically taking the Cartier Crash and they're saying, cool, we're just going to make an affordable version of it. And that is our entire brand. We're knocking off someone else's concept. Obviously, there's always something to like knocking off a concept, making it affordable is like a thing, and they see some success from it. But they're knocking off that concept, and that's all they do is like this viral design. They're not like offering anything else but this like concept of virality. The brand exists specifically to be a viral take like on an existing item. Obviously, they have this other kind of like viral looking item they have there, and like that is the core identity of the brand. And so while I think they can achieve sales, and sales is honestly for a lot of e-com people can purely be the goal, and that's totally okay. For brand longevity, this might be a starting point they can transition out of, but they're kind of setting themselves up for some degree of like failure from a longevity standpoint. And again, if your goal is money, it does not matter. You can make money doing exactly this. And if they are smart and savvy, potentially they can pivot that into something bigger later. We all start somewhere. I don't want to hate on it. There's a difference between someone like House of Errors who's making inherently viral things, but they are unique. They are interesting. There's always some conversation about who's referencing what, like regarding them, but they are able to continually take interesting things and put a spin on them, but do it in a way that is not like overdoing it in any particular fashion, is not too derivative in any other way, and make it as a core of the brand identity that it's going to be interesting and a tasteful nature of viral. Another example in the interior space, and obviously these are like a very artful creation, but this is one where like every product like lives inside this viral realm, but they're all insane. This is basically art as brand, like personified, where you get kind of these pieces that you can't believe are real versus AI, where they're creating this like amazing immersive world around this idea of one-of-one in art and sculpture, but it is presented in a way that is like inherently going to be successful online. These are inherently shareable, curatable. People can make content about them. If you do buy them and you post it, you're going to go viral as well. Like that is the dream, right? If you are trying to make a brand that takes mass advantage of organic social media, you need that flow. When you post it, no matter what, still image, reel, whatever, you get a ton of organic views off it. You don't have to pay for it. It just shoots off because of the nature of the design, which each one of these achieves. And then second, you get to follow up with other people who are going to curate it and talk about it. The way I make green screen about cool content and cool products, I'm like, great, I'm going to include this in this YouTube video, in this Instagram, so people are going to know about it from curation. Or just like I've shown a bunch of Outlander and Saint posts on this, where they're curating to a certain degree, more people realize it. But then whoever actually gets it in their house, they are going to want to post it. Anyone that interacts with it is going to want to post it, or at least recommend it in real life or send a picture to their spouse. And you have now maximized the organic virality you can possibly get without having to deploy ad dollars. And that is the foundation of this entire concept. And so you have to basically look at where can you fall in that chain to make max advantage for where you are. This is a fun example of like a simple accessory around this that allows you to make fun content. This is the kind of idea that any company could do in this space. A donut shop could do this, a donut company could do this, a coffee company could do this, a coffee shop could do this, a fashion company could do this, a design studio could do this, where they just made a really fun looking coffee holder for people to walk around with that is inherently looks viral on social media. And they're making a video about how to use it that then could get remade like 50 times. And so that's another key concept I want to talk about in the scheme of these things is that one thing people don't understand about virality is that like if you have a video do good for your products, you should continue to remake that video with slight variations in perpetuity. There's a couple ways to look at it. On TikTok, you can just basically make that same video every day on an account and it's not going to hurt you. On Instagram, it's like, when can I reasonably really, repeat this without having people get too tired of it? It's like, well, okay, once every 2 weeks, once every month. You'll note that like as a creator, you'll see I update my most popular videos like every like 6 months and basically add a couple new things or make it better because I'm a better creator and then put the same thing out because I know it works. We need to find that formula for you and should be then repeating that and then also getting that in the hands of others, which I mentioned back when we talked about the first product of the matcha. If you have a viral format, get other people to do it. The idea of taking that brief and going wide. If you have something you know hits, that's when you activate influencer, right? One of the big things about influencer marketing that I feel like doesn't work often enough is that they'll ask the influencer to come up with a brief, you get 50-50 shot, or they'll come with a brief that they kind of know sucks. If you have a video that goes viral for your brand, take that brief to the influencers, right? Because then you're basically saying, hey, I'm almost guaranteeing you virality. So the influencer's immediately like, oh, great, this is not going to flop because most branded content is not good. And then they're going to go, oh, actually, this could be successful. Here how I can put my twist on it. And then you're getting the views and ROI back. Scale these concepts, whether it's your one-off item like this or the core of your brand, like make the most of that. Brainvis with the classic example of this, kind of with the footwear. They're an interesting one where they do have like a lot of kind of staple regular items, but then they're running footwear like purely as viral, where this is just a funnel, right? Like this stuff is wild. It is on the fringe of like, is this cool? Do I really want this for my brand? But it gets them so much attention, 188,000 likes, 16,000 likes, that it then helps them move their more core products, which are like nice and well done. That is basically a funnel for them, right? A viral funnel for success, then sell more typical stuff. And I have friends of mine have these shoes and really, really like them. That's worth thinking about it in context. So they have a lot of items that look good naturally. Like everything here is designed to be lightly good on social media, but there's a difference between that and this. But they are making like social media friendly products and then leaning into the big social media success because it gets them the followers that consume the other things. And we have to talk about Bo Carlson's, I don't even know how to pronounce the brand, Avav. So they did this as a collab with Adidas, where again, this is purely to get attention. And Adidas doing a collab with their brand is to get viral attention. That's the only purpose of that, right? They are not a brand where people are coming to them constantly for their clothing because it's wearable. It is a viral brand and concept. Their creative director is a master of virality, from how they debuted it and how they debuted the shots. And they're very known for their runway items. This is another product that they have in the canon. This was what really blew them up, this runway show. And some of those like big fuzzy boots that you saw in there. And obviously you've seen variations of like the stomping and the models falling and like all the different things that this has led to, like what we see here. This is a brand engineered for virality in the high fashion realm. We've seen brands engineered for virality now from like the lowest kind of common denominator. We're selling a cheaper version of a luxury good, like all the way up now to doing it at a high fashion level. And then you can see when someone goes and collabs with them, they are doing that because they know they're going to get this certain level of eyeballs the way Adidas did on this campaign. And that is worth it for an Adidas to be then considered next to this, to get those eyeballs, to have that conversation. And for some people where brand awareness is a big part of that metric, and then brand awareness tangential to art, for lack of a better term, is a concept that big brands are beginning to look at. If you become a vehicle for that as a creative director or as a brand, it opens up a world of opportunity. And then another example of a brand that leans really deep into that with Fugazi, who put together like interesting, good looking products, right? With it all have this kind of like viral component of it that's done in an interesting way that's built into the brand's design. And it's interesting. And as I reflect on how I launched some of my kind of recent products, I've been thinking a lot about this. I designed a lot of things that to spark conversation, but I didn't have like a single like shocking viral piece. Looking back on it, I would have gone for one or two like way more viral pieces to launch with, but I do like the idea that all of them could have a conversation, right? So I did this video about the beach pants I have. The beach pants are inherently see-through. I knew that would be a controversial topic, but also a really cool item when you actually have it. If you have it and you style it, it's amazing. People like it, both male and female. It sells a lot, but it's going to spark conversation online, which is a good thing for me, right? I want to have that conversation online. And I saw it. I made a video about this, got 100K plus views, whatever it is. Nothing hugely viral because it's not inherently hugely viral, but it sparked a conversation. People either love it or they hate it. And then you get that innate mechanism when people do that of people that love it kind of defending it or supporting it for that reason. And then when that video hits, like it was an immediate like 30 sales or something like that. And so you begin to know like this formula. And I'm going to end with the formula. Like the formula of more organic success when you're launching whatever line you have or brand you have or product you have is how many videos you make to how many sales that you make organically. And you begin to get a formula on that. And this is the formula for every creator. I have all these calls with creators, people with big followings who've launched brands who don't sell enough. And they're like, why am I not selling enough of this product? And obviously there's some stuff around affinity and fan base, but actually the reason for most of them is they expected it was going to be some drop like a hype brand and then they were going to sell out everything the first day. When in reality, when you are a creator or an influencer, you have an infinite ability to sell with content that you make about it, right? It's like, okay, all right, you sold 40 t-shirts your first day, but you bought 1,000. I'm like, all right, well, how many videos did you make that first day? Okay, you made 2 videos. All right, you have a 20 t-shirt to video ratio. So you can sell the rest of that 1,000 t-shirts, but you have to make 50 videos about it. But guess what? That is your job as a creator to be able to make videos that sell product. And whether you are a brand account, whether you are a creator, whatever you have that has access to virality and organic growth, like that is the ratio to think about. So like when I did that pants video and I sold 30 pants or whatever it looks like, now I know I still have another like 40 or so of those in stock. So right now I go, hey, cool, that's 2 more videos. I can probably sell through that inventory right there. That is now my organic sales to organic videos ratio. But that's what you begin thinking about as a brand, even with collection design. Okay, well, how many videos do I have to do about each product to move that? Okay, am I going to move the other stuff like naturally through my email list, through ads? It becomes a component you begin to think about of like, do I think this item is viral? When it goes viral, does it sell a lot? And then how can I kind of test and quantify that? I tested that with a color changing fabric concept I had. I already have the bag kind of designed, but I wanted to validate, okay, is this going to go viral as much as I think it is? And it went super viral. It was like a 3 million view video. And it was like, all right, cool. I think I can get that for the same product. Yeah, I think I can do 1 million views every time I make a video on that concept. And then with that, how many do I think I'm going to sell? I think I could probably sell 100 per one of those videos. And so all of a sudden that helps me forecast a bit of what I'm thinking about. And that's the conversation that you can begin to have, but you know that the answer to selling more of those things is always creating more content. And then the web you need to get into is I can create more of that content myself, or I can enable other people to take the successful formats I have and act on it. But no matter what brand stage you're at, starting a new brand and you want to get attention, you're going to use an anchor viral product, one viral product to support the rest of your line. Whether you're going to make a viral brand concept where everything is designed to be aesthetic and conversation starting online, or you're a bigger brand who wants to get attention and be in the online conversation and wants to collaborate with someone who does that, like we saw with Adidas here, or make it part of their strategy, like the way we saw with Umbro. That is how the viral product landscape works and is worth understanding because it is a tool that is now built into the marketing and branding toolkit going into the future. As always, drop any comments or thoughts that you have down below. I'll happily hit some of the questions. I'm doing longer form answers to questions on TikTok all the time now. I do a lot of like off the cuff videos there. So if you have a quick question, I can probably answer it faster there. And we will be back with more videos. Thank you for watching.